Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. This is Mountie Carl, and today you are in for a special Let's Talk because I am going off the script. And while I was going to talk about toughness and kind of give you the formulas behind that I'm going to save that for tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to something that I believe needs to be talked about now, because with the announcement that the 1.3 expansion is coming June 28th, I think it's time we address the elephant in the room, and that is the severe drop in player base, which is 90% of the people that were playing this game have stopped playing it, and why they stopped. And I came across this post on Reddit, and it was done by a person, which I will give credit to in the description. I believe his name is Atrion. And let me just go ahead and paraphrase what he wrote. And the reason he thinks that 90% of the player base is gone is because the game is a bait and switch. And it completely changes once you get to the end game, and it's not in a good way. It starts as a cover-based shooter, which is what everybody, really wanted, is a cover-based shooter, and it needed to continue to be a cover-based shooter. But toward the end, it's not. And it's, you're fighting through various locations using cool abilities, a plethora of firearms, and it kind of makes a bunch of sense at this point. So you take cover to stay alive, shooting enemies in the head a few times, it kills them. You throw grenades, it kills them using demolition type skills, and then kills them. It's fun. You're going through a co-op game and you're killing guys, and it's not this shoot 15 clips into a guy and then kills him. But so then you hit the end game, and all the fundamentals of the game simply go out the window. It changes 100%. For one, the game is now 100% about loot. That's all you're doing. Think you can defeat an enemy with smart use of cover and good aim? Think again. You have shotgunners that rush you. You have people, the end game enemies have so much health that a regular gun does absolutely nothing to them for the most part. The only way to even make a dent is to have the correct weapon skills that add properties like crit hit chance, crit hit damage, or crit damage increase, armor penetration, and so on and so forth. Half the weapons are not usable at all, so you're pretty much SOL if you enjoy those particular weapons. Weapons with the wrong mods are not usable either, so enjoy the never-ending stream of horribly useless items that will be your reward for sticking with this mess until the endgame. Now, survivability is the same way. You thought you were playing a cover-based shooter where survival is about picking the right place to shoot from, but no. Survival is now also about having the right gear mods, because when enemies that can take 100 bullets to the face and just laugh come charging at you from cover, it means nothing. Having a gun that heals you every time you score a crit hit does. Now, that is some messed up logic. So basically what he's saying is that if you don't have the right weapons and you don't have the right gear, you're pretty much crap. And you're not going to win this game, and the end game means nothing to you. You're not going to do a very good job. And you need the weapons that basically are the current crutch at the time. Sticky bombs don't do anything anymore. They've negated all the sticky bombs with Final Measure. With that two-piece, all you need is 2 pieces, and you can negate sticky bombs forever. That's it. 2 pieces of sticky bombs. Done. You don't ever need to worry about sticky bombs again with 2 pieces of Final Measure. Now, the abilities in the game are no longer what you think they do either. The sticky bomb that seemed like an awesome ability when you started the game now does too little damage to matter unless you equip the flashbang mod, which makes it blind the enemy for 5 seconds. Those 5 seconds in which you can run up to them, stuff your SMG with all the right weapon mods down their throat, pull the trigger till it automatically gets another full clip because it has all the right magic weapon mods. Basically, all the abilities that did some kind of discrete number of damage are worthless at the end game. All of the abilities that stun the enemies are okay. That ability that give a big percentage boost to your damage that scales with the absurd weapons that you need are damn near mandatory. Now, that's why everybody runs around with an SMG, because it has the high crit damage, and they run around with a M1A or something very similar to that, a sniper rifle. Very rarely will you see somebody use a shotgun outside of PvP, because PvP you can get up close and personal because it doesn't take 3 clips to kill somebody, unless, well, except now it does. But if you have the right mods, you can kill somebody really easily. But PvE, all the stuff, you know, all the sticky bombs, all that stuff, it's useless, and especially in the dark zone when you have like level 34s. You shoot a sticky bomb at somebody, it does a max of 250,000 damage. What the hell is that doing to somebody with 1,000,000 hit points plus? I've done 3 headshots on some of these guys with 1,000,000 damage, and it's done. They're still alive, they're still coming after you. Like, what is that? Like, that's not fun. Like, this game has ceased to be fun. Anyways, I'm gonna save my ranting for a little bit later, because, you know, it's making me very angry that, you know, Ubisoft and Massive have done such a horrible job at keeping this game, and we'll talk about that a little bit more toward the end, and we can go over this. So let's just go ahead and we'll keep going. And you know, the sticky bombs, the shock turrets, you know, those are the stuff that you need to survive in this game, because it stops the enemies from shooting at you. You have level 32 to level 34 enemies, and soon to be level 36 once 1.3 drops. So what are you going to do at this point? Because the weapons aren't getting any better. You're supposed to be this elite agent at this point, and these guys out there with these massive armor. How is it that a Riker, a Rioter, guys that are on the street have better armor and better weapons than you? Like, it makes absolutely no sense that these groups of people, like these guys with flamethrowers that light you on fire, have better armor and better damage capabilities than an elite government agent with access to all of these weapons. It's bullshit. Like, it's to the utter amount of absurdity that you need, like, specialized gear, you need specialized mods and all this stuff. And I know that this is an RPG, and we should all be happy that this is out. But when you get down to it, why is it that, you know, I can understand bosses having this, but why is there a shotgunner who can snipe you across the floor or across the room with a shotgun? Like, it makes no sense. Anyways, let's get back to this post. Now, PvP isn't a cover-based shooter either, because, oh well, it's PvP. So even the people who don't cheat are so accurate that your chances to survive machine gun fire are twice as high if you're cartwheeling down the street than if you hunker down behind a concrete divider with an inch of your scalp exposed. The only reward for PvP is also all that magic gear you need. So of course, there are only 2 reasons to do PvP. 1, you want the gear because you've been playing the game where nothing, or because you don't have any yet. And 2, you have the gear and you want to ruin the fun of everyone else who does it. And this is where PvE or PvP really disintegrates, because of course, since you've been playing this game with where nothing except having the right magic gear matters ever since level 30, if you're in camp number 1, you might as well quit. Like, you might as well quit. If you don't have good gear, you might as well quit, because everybody else out there, right now, the dark zone, all it is about griefing people. That's it. Really, you're in 2 camps. You're either helping people or you're hurting people. And the majority of the people out there, I see assholes out there every single day, and all they want to do is cut the rope and grief people and make sure that nobody else is getting any gear. And sure, that's the game. I'm not complaining about that. I'm not complaining about the game. It's because they have given the assholes of this game a huge benefit of basically giving them the right to be assholes to people who are just now getting up to speed. And it's just not fair to people. Like, you might as well, and that's why 90% of the people quit. Like, I would quit too if I wasn't super geared. Like, I have pretty good gear. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, it's just absurd that, you know, Massive has given, here, let griefers have their tools to go around and grief people. And that's really what it's about. You know, this game has, the end game is about griefing people, stealing their gear, and getting out of the dark zone with it. And if you're not one of those people who are griefing people, well, you're pretty much, you know, not doing anything. You're trying to help, but I was in a fight the other night where there were 4 people and we couldn't kill them all. There were 8 people trying to kill them, but they were so well geared and so well versed in using their tactics that there was nothing we could do. So all these guys were doing is running around, killing everybody, which wasn't fun. Like, the whole point of the dark zone is to be fun. So that's really what it's about. Anyways, let me finish up this post and we can talk about this even more. So basically, the devs created a rock solid fundamental game that's tons of fun to play, and then decided that the end game should be completely different. They should completely ignore it. It needs to be about crafting, it needs to be about loot, it needs to be about loot, and finally it needs to be about loot. So pretty much that's it. You want loot? That's what it's about. That's the whole game. There you go. I just outlined the entire game for you at the end game. It's about loot. There's nothing else. Zero, zip, zilch. Everything you're doing in this game toward the end is about loot, getting loot, making loot, doing anything else to get it, and then there's also making sure that nobody else can get it. That's really what the end game is about. And even so, like right now, you know, DivTech, there are barriers to crafting, and Massive wanted to make sure that you know, people moved away from crafting and were picking up gear so that they could, you know, be able to move away from crafting and being able to gather gear from loot drops and stuff like that. Well, guess what? That's not the way it is. The only thing they've done is prevent you from crafting stuff. They've removed electronics and they've removed tools from you being able to get it. So those are the bottlenecks right now. DivTech, I have over 900, or I have 999. I've maxed out on DivTech, which was the previous bottleneck. Now the bottleneck is getting electronics and tools, the two things that you need to craft any gear. So what did Massive do? Instead of making crafting a priority, they made crafting as hard as possible to be able to do by making it so that the loot you need is impossible to get. Right now, guns are pretty much like, you know, free flowing everywhere, and it's not even the guns that you need. It's horrible, terrible guns with useless skills on them. There are over 19,000 combinations of skills that you can get from what I've read, and each one of those is ridiculous. Like you can't use any of the guns. Like the only gun that the two guns that I use are ones that I crafted before the drop. And it's absolutely ridiculous that they've put there's still the same need to be crafting stuff so that you can just keep running through and getting loot, because the loot that you get in the dark zone still is garbage. It's still garbage. It's not worth anything. Sure, it has a 204 on it. That doesn't mean anything. It has a 182. I have 182 gear that's better than 204 gear. Now, there are, you know, pieces of equipment, you know, that are 240. Sure, that, you know, 240 stuff is now pretty relevant and pretty readily available. Everybody should be geared up. You shouldn't have any 214 stuff. It should all be used to sell. And there's recalibration, and recalibration sucks because the rolls that you get on every single one of your pieces of loot is garbage. Now, everything that you get is garbage except for that one piece of equipment that you can really use. And it's taken me this long to get to the point where I have actually a certifiable build that I can use. I have 235,000 DPS, I have 455,000 toughness, and I have 18,000 skill. And it was hard to even get that because I couldn't craft anything. I was sitting there and I had to deconstruct stuff. I had to recalibrate. I've lost tons of millions of credits because of this. Like this game is no longer a fun game at the end game. It is a constant grind, and nothing that drops. Like you see a green, you're like, oh, hey, it's a green. Let's see if I can just, you know, I mean, we've gone through and we call it the recalibration casino, because you never know what you're going to get. You're never going to be right there on top of things, and you're never going to get that roll that's perfect. And so, you know, we're right back to where we started from, and I thought 1.2 was going to save this game, but really what 1.2 did was make it an unbearable grind, which was even worse than before. And sure, there's a lot of cool things like having 240 gear and being able to level up, and they've removed kind of the you know, hey, everybody has elite gear at this point. But really what they've done is make it so that if you don't have the exact right stats and the exact right gun, you're pretty much at the bottom of the food chain, and you're going to suffer a lot due to rogues going rogues on you in the dark zone. And I just don't see this game getting better. So there's a reason why there's a 90% drop in people playing this game. And I gotta say, if 1.3 doesn't change things, there's going to be an even bigger drop, because there's not going to be very many people, especially since this was Massive's flagship title. This was the thing that was going to turn Ubisoft around. They had 3 games coming out. They have Rainbow Six, they have Ghost Recon, and they have this game. You know, there are 3 shooter titles that were going to save the company. No. Vivendi is going to buy Ubisoft and turn it into, you know, and actually maybe make this great. I actually hope that Vivendi takes it and just guts it and absolutely destroys anything and fires everybody that was there, so that they can restore the Ubisoft name and rebuild all of these titles from the ground up. It's absolutely a disgrace what they have done to the games that they have built, and you know, they're using these names to dupe people in like they did with Assassin's Creed Unity. You know, that's a name synonymous with great games. But no, it's Assassin's Creed Unity. When that came out, that was such a dumpster fire that it's ridiculous. Anyways, I've gone on long enough. I just wanted to go ahead and cover this Reddit article that I read that with somebody who had some really great points about why the player base has dropped from 90% down to 10%. I mean, you can look at the numbers. I mean, The Division was #2 on Steam for the longest time, or not even for the longest time, for like 2 weeks, and now it's down to number 47. And the dumpster fire that is Rainbow Six Siege, it's actually higher than, it has more people playing than The Division. It has more people playing than The Division, and you can't find a competitive game on Rainbow Six Siege because the servers are so terrible. Like, that's just the way it is. So I'm just, I'm disappointed. I'm hoping that 1.3 will bring things about again. I've ordered, I ordered the Division Gold Edition, so hopefully, I'm stuck with the expansion packs. No matter what, I'm going to play the expansion packs. I'm going to try this game out. I'm going to play it, and hopefully my friends are going to stick with me. In between time, I'm going to be playing Overwatch. There's a lot of games. This week is going to be filled with E3 coverage, so it's going to be great. Anyways, that's my time. I hope you've enjoyed this little rant, and I hope that some of this makes sense. Please don't give up on The Division just yet. There's a lot of good people out there still playing this. Not everybody's an asshole rogue. There are plenty of people who are out there that are assholes still playing this game because they can be assholes, but that's just what it is. Anyways, if you found this video helpful and you enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe to us, because we will be bringing you more Division content, more Division glitches, or whatever we can find on The Division at this point. And June 28th is when the next expansion drops, the Underground, so hopefully that'll breathe some new life into this game and bring back some of the fun that was there. And we'll see you next time. I am Mounty Carl. This has been a Division Let's Talk on The Division and Gun Brothers Gaming. Thank you very much for listening to this rant. Agent out.